Hello and welcome to another episode of Citadel Guard Adventures. This is Beriathan of the Citadel Guard of Gondor, and we are back in Zirakazhâr, ready to continue the interlude by talking with Herceg. So on the last episode, she told us the story about Gnar, the death of Thror, and how that was the beginning of the Sixth War of Dwarves and Orcs, and now we are ready to continue the tale. Garalith is very excited to hear it as well, so let us dive right in.
Let us hope that Gnar has found some measure of happiness again, even at so old an age. It is the very least he deserves.
As for Gnar, I think it's good that he has finally left Sudrgun behind. Since his return, Gnar has made many friends in the Lonely Mountain. When he feels well enough to visit us here in Zirakazhâr, I have heard his laugh and seen the light in his eye when he smiles. Although it pains me to even think such a thing, perhaps his ailment has been something of a mercy, some small kindness bestowed upon him by the first crafter. Let us hope that Gnar has found some measure of happiness again, even at so old an age. It is the very least he deserves. Now then, I must tend to the task King Thráin gave to me, and you ought to begin your studies of my grandfather's work. Here are gestures to a stack of books atop the nearby table. Those will tell you all you need to know about the Battle of Azanulbizar, Beriathan. When you've studied it enough for your liking, you are to return to the king under the mountain. With any luck, I'll see you again soon. So, yeah, there we go. Here. This is the passage to the Tales of Yore. This is where we will begin our studies of the war at Azanulbizar. So, let us go. Here we are. As you sift through the first few pages of Hermáth Stormhammer's account of the Sixth War of the Dwarves and Orcs, you notice the author has written a foreword. And of course we cannot miss that foreword, but we cannot miss either a picture of Hermáth Stormhammer, which is this dwarf that we're seeing right in here. We have, well, the sepia filter, I guess. So this is another memory, of course. Maybe not the best pictures, but still a very important picture to take. So let us hear Hermáth now. It was at the behest of Dáin, my dear friend and king under the mountain, that I embarked upon writing a complete account of the Sixth War of the Dwarves and Orcs. For too long, Durin's folk had endured hardship after hardship, and it did not seem proper to dwell on such a sorrowful chapter in our history. Where my own memory and experiences did not serve the tale, I enlisted the account of others, chief among them the sons of Fundin and Groin, and by his own request, King Dáin. For this, they have my truest gratitude. As a final note, I have labored to construct this tale that the reader might see it through my own eyes. If I should interject on occasion, it is only to make clear certain details or include aspects of the tale learned long after the war's end. Beneath the foreword, you notice a dedication. For Durin. By the winter of 3rd Age 2799, King Thráin and his great reckoning host, the Haban'akkâ, had made camp at Amdan, the ancient threshold of the kingdom of Khazad-dûm. It had been a long journey, for they had made a wide march around Lórien and come up from the south, treading the old stones of the Great Way. All through Amdan, dwarves of the Seven Houses grew restless. I, like all of the Iron Folk, were camped near to the house of Thráin. Although few of us knew it at the time, it was to be the eve of battle. Ah, yeah, that's true. So, in the distance you see the Haban'akkâ of Thráin encamped at Amdan. Yeah, we're gonna talk to those guys in just a moment. What just happened in here is that we have become Hermáth after reading the foreword and the introduction of chapter 1. This was, in my opinion, a really nice touch. And I kinda talked about this when we were doing Mordor Besieged, which was the first time we went back in the past. Now, you might remember from my episode in Mordor Besieged that I came to appreciate what the devs did on that occasion a lot more, because that gave you more role-playing possibilities of creating your own character at Mordor Besieged. And in Beriathan's case, that worked perfectly. But what I really enjoy about the Tales of Yore in Azanulbizar is how you become Hermáth. So there is a name for the character we are playing as, the character that we have just become. That gives a full background, that gives the devs a lot more tools to work with. And that, I think, worked in their favor in order to craft this portion of the story, which once again I enjoyed quite a lot. It's really cool being back here in the Timbrel Dale, a few hundred years before the events of the books. And well, you will see, if you compare this to my episodes in Lorien and the Timbrel Dale, you will see the landscape is different, and that is because the devs also took the chance of reworking the landscape a little bit when they released this update, which happened after I had recorded the episodes in Lorien. But if at any point I roll another character, this is the landscape that they will now get, and that is also very exciting. But enough of that. We have here Tales of Azanulbizar, learn of quest completed long ago at Azanulbizar. Oh, okay. It's just the quest date. There are a lot of dates in here, as you will expect, of course. Now, this is Gavil Thurku, the Great Way. Find and rally with the item folk at Amdan. Here we go. So the first thing we're gonna do is grab the milestone in here. Might need this. And yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think we need a couple pictures of this entire place, because in true Dwarven fashion, it's a really majestic sight. If anything, dwarves are such great builders that it's really impressive anytime you come to see what they do. So it's gonna be great. Undam the threshold, yeah. Just want a good picture of the camp. And I guess the rallying point is through there. But before we do that, you did the war camp of Thráin. You have learned of the exiled encampment at Amdan. So that's another deed. So it's an explorer deed. We gotta find 9 different locations. Technically we're just learning about them because this is a book that we're reading, but well, you get the idea. We're gonna grab the stable master. And yeah, a picture of this passage, if you will. Looks so great. Even a little back. Okay, further back. Yeah, this works. I like it. Okay, I think that's gonna be good for now. You have learned of the House of Thráin's encampment at Amdan. So, this is King Thráin, the Longbeards. So what I'm not sure, what I don't remember as much is if this banner is the banner of the Haban'akkâ as a whole, or the banner of the Longbeards, but I think the Longbeards are these banners that we see here, so maybe this is the banner of the Haban'akkâ as a whole. I mean, we'll get to meet the 7 houses of the Dwarves as we progress through this. And once again, I'm not an expert on Dwarves. I have read a little bit about it on the appendices and basically that. So I'm not a huge source of knowledge, but I'll do my best to explain this as much as I remember. For example, look at who we have here. Gnar. He looks so beaten. I will agree with Hersek. After what happened to him, his madness was some sort of mercy. As you walk among the item folk, you catch sight of your friend Dáin. Ah, there he is. You have learned of the item folk encampment at Amdan. Gror and 9, and now we have Dáin. That's amazing. Hermáth, my friend, I was beginning to think we lost you on the Great Way. Dáin embraces you warmly. It is hard to believe that we're here at last. I have read the stories of old Azanulbizar, but none could describe it in such detail. It seems fitting that this war should end where it began, don't you think? And if what I have heard is true, we will not have to sit idle for much longer. Oh, the Council of the Seven, that's good.
According to my father, King Thráin intends to call the other houses to council this evening.
The sons of the other kings and lords have been invited as well, so being the grandson of the Lord of the Iron Hills, so have I. You may not be of my blood, but you are my brother, Hermáth. A great battle awaits us on the morrow, and we must be prepared for it. Will you accompany me to the council? Oh, that's so amazing. This is one of my favorite instances. Just from all the lore that you get out of it, so let's go right now.
What say you, Hermáth? Will you join me?
Absolutely, let us go.
Beyond the foothills of Zirakzigil, the dwarves of the Haban'akkâ last glimpsed Azanulbizar. It lay barren and silent, so too had it seemed to Thror when he met his end at the hands of Azog. On the eve of battle, King Thráin called the kings of the Seven Houses to council at Abdon.
And we're about to see that council now. I have seen the different voice actors in the game pronounce those names differently. Some actors say Thráin, some others say Thráin, and the same thing with Dáin, with 9. I don't know how to pronounce this, so bear with me because I might switch between those two. Anyway, let us go to the council now.
I think we're in luck, Hermáth.
It doesn't sound like it started yet, but we'd better hurry over. Come on. Okay, we gotta just follow the gathering. Before we go, these are the emblems of the 7 houses of the dwarves. As far as I remember, most of the names for these houses were given in Khûzdul. Basically, the devs don't have the rights to use most of these names, if not all of them. So they created their own names, but much like what they did with the Sons of Isildur, for example, they took a lot of effort in creating lore-friendly names appropriate for each one of those houses, and I think we'll come to learn a little bit more about them as we continue. I don't remember the specifics, but among these houses we will of course find the Zhélruka and the ancestors, or well, the branch from where the stout axes come from. It's a blur right now, but I think we'll get a chance of refreshing our memory as we go. And let us also take a quick look at who we have here. We have Oin and Gloin, younger versions of Oin and Gloin. That's so cool. We have Farin, Dwalin, Fundin, Balin, and Kalin. Oh, amazing. Gror, Lord of the Iron Hills, Dáin, 9, Nar, the 7 lords of the houses of the dwarves. I cannot read all those names right now, but let us get into the council. As you take your place beside Dáin, Thráin begins to speak. We come to it at last. Too long has my father's shade awaited what the morrow brings. Too long has the defilement of his body gone unanswered. Too long has the coward Azog hidden in our ancient home, his hand stained with noble blood. Too long, say all of them. And so he sent his sons to fight in his stead. There was Kámbrada who fell in the halls of Gundabad, and whose skull now adorns my banner. Okay, that's the banner of the Longyears, okay. A new banner, it seems. Then there was Uro, the eldest, whose hand was severed by my son, Thráin. And then there was Bolg, who fled from battle. The line of Azog is spent. For 9 long years he has eluded us, but no longer. Such a rousing speech is worthy of a cheer. Yeah, give me just a moment here. King Belad of the Zhélruka, the son of Belad, the Narfanghoth, which are the Firebeards, and son of Agni, the Landorrim. I don't remember what was the name. Oh, Thráin and Thorin. Take a look at Thorin. If you are a dwarven character, you get a chance of meeting Thorin during the prologue, but that is just before the quest for Erebor, so he's much younger now. And Thráin, which is of course Thorin's brother, but spoiler alert, that doesn't end well. The Temámir, the Kámbrada, that is where the stout axes come from, if I remember things correctly. The Abnúzhu. I have no idea who half these guys are, but let's continue. As the cheers fall quiet, Thráin begins the ordering of the Haban'akkâ. A great battle awaits us as Azanulbizar. All will be ordered as I and the other kings of the 7 houses have resolved. Drogon and Agni, you shall lead your warriors onto the slopes of Zirakzigil. Zirakazhâr is overrun and it must be reclaimed. Beriathan, your warriors must cross Kivil Nala and climb the slopes of Bundushâthur. If the orcs hold a warding-spire, none of our movements in the Dale will go beneath their notice. Jegin, the Temámir, shall aid the Landorrim and Narfanghoth at Zirakazhâr. As for your Keenite scouts, let them learn what they might of Azog's designs. Shalim, you will send half of your warriors to Atraxarak to bolster the Kámbrada and Zhélruka. The rest will assemble along the outer edges of the Dale. If any orc mean to escape our wrath, the Abnúzhu will slay them to the last. What of you and your King Thráin? We will walk the Great Way proudly as our forefathers did. And we shall meet the orcs in battle from Amdan to the very gates of Khazad-dûm. My sons and I will lead the vanguard, and the sons of Fighting will march beside us. Not only the sons, but the father also. I will not sit by playing the daughter with the blades of others, while the blades of others drink their fill. What of the Iron Hills? Surely we will not be kept idle. Not idle, cousin, but in reserve. The Iron Folk will answer the horn calls of the others should any part of the battle turn wrongly. And if not, will we simply sit by if victory comes without woe? Pray, cousin, when has that ever come to pass? Let those questions be answered on the morrow. For tonight, let us sleep while we may. For we shall not rest again until Azog is slain. So cool. Baruch Kazad! Kazad Aimenu! For Thror! for Thror! As Thráin and the others prepare to take rest, Dáin beckons you over. Yeah, I'm gonna talk with you in just a moment, but... Look, fighting, growing and funding. So these two are brothers then, so that means Glowing, Oin, Dwalin, Balin, and well, Kalin, I guess, are cousins. Such a nice detail. I love seeing these guys in here. We never got the chance of meeting Balin, and it's amazing to get to meet Balin now. And Dwalin, of course, which now is much younger. Here we have Gror and Dáin and Nine, which is also great. There's Nar too. And well, the Lords of the Dwarves that we have already seen. A lot of names to keep track of. So let's hope we do well in that regard.
I hope my father did not think me imprudent in my concern. At the very least, I seem to have amused our elders and some of the kings.
I hope my father did not think me imprudent in my concern, Hermáth. I could tell he too was displeased that the Iron Folk would be held in reserve, but a dwarf of his station would not dare say as much. At the very least, I seem to have amused our elders and some of the kings. I fear we have a long day ahead of us on the morrow, my friend. Let us sleep while we might.
Rest well, friend. I shall see you in the morn.
In the morn we shall meet indeed.
Hermáth. I did not sleep as well as I'd have liked, but I hope you got some rest.
Dáin is all of Osel this morning, and it seems some of our cousins have already set out. I am eager to join the battle, but I will heed King Thráin's orders. Father made certain of that. You did. The Battle of Azanulbizar. Let's see. Okay. This is just for completing the epic, I guess. And we have another one. Remnants of Khazad-dûm. Another explorer deed. And I think at least, I'm not sure, but I think Gavial Thurku should already be completed. But as of the time of recording this, there seems to be an issue with some of the deeds not bestowing properly at certain locations. So I think we'll need to just revisit Gavial Thurku and hope that comes, that gives us credit for the deed. Alas, such are the disadvantages of being grandsons of the Lord of the Iron Hills. But you, my friend, I suspect you could pass among the others in this great Haban'akkâ without a second glance, even with the hammer of yours. As we heard at the council last night, King Thráin has ordered the 7 houses to wait upon the fingers of the Dale, the fringes of the Dale. Among them, the Landorrim, Narfanghoth and Temámir have traveled to Zirakazhâr on the slope of Zirakzigil. Once it is reclaimed from the orcs, I fear they shall have to contend with the trolls we spied from afar. As for the Kámbrada, Zhélruka and Abnúzhu, they have a harder path to take. If they can break through the orcish outposts blocking the way to Zirakazhâr, they intend to claim Ashmargathâl and set siege to Atratzarak, the old warding-spire of Khazad-dûm. It is far too much indeed to ask if any one of the 7 houses, but together we will triumph. By Durin's beard, Asa will not live to see the morrow. So here you have 2 different options, 2 different branching paths that you can take at whichever order you like. But if memory serves me right, it's better to go first to Bundushâthur, which is a cloudy head. What was the name of the cloudy head? I don't remember in Elvish what was the name. But if we go to the map of Lothlorien, Fanuidol. Yeah, thank you so much, Fanuidol. I go better with the elven names. We have Zirakzigil, which is Celebdil, and of course Barazimbar, the Redhorn Caradhras. So we gotta pick the 2 quests, and we'll see where we go first. What do you say, Hermáth? The journey will be long, but hardship has not stopped us yet. Will you aid our kid and cousin at Ashmargathâl? What do you say, my friend? It is not that far to the northwest, but it is too far for me to go beneath the notice of my father or grandfather, Gror. Will you aid our kid and causes and Zirakazhâr? Yeah, I will do both, actually, but now we can also start picking up side quests. That's gonna be good too.
Let us make it rain black ichor once more.
Our enemies have learned to fear boiling and burning pitch that tumble from our walls. Our pitch buckets have a sad lack of the black tar now, however. Go and gather resin from the pine trees. I will meet you north, in Zirakazhâr. Bring the resin there that we might melt it down. Let us make it rain black ichor once more. That's one. What else do we have? Here? I don't see it. Ah, it's this guy.
I heard that you are heading east towards Kimil Nala.
I am Gori's Tansetter, Master Architect. An ancestor of mine worked to build bridges and buildings about the valley in ages past when Khazad-dûm was still ours. I wish to examine the nearby ruins, but I need someone with a strong arm to my back. If you are of a mind to help, I would greatly appreciate it. Ah, this is an instance.
Let us travel the old ways of our forefathers.
Yeah, I'll be back with you in just a sec. Let me pick up the other quests and see what else we can find in here.
Archers are hindering our attack.
Archers are hindering our attack upon the ruins and our camp at the far end of the pass. They rain down arrows into the gorge from the overpass above. Thus far, they have repulsed our attempts to capture their position, for a company of dwarves presents a large target. A single dwarf, however, could get close enough without being seen to defeat them. Take them down from their perches, Hermáth, and relieve them of any weapons you might find. So, you have come to assist the war effort. We certainly could use the help, and everyone is expected to pitch in. There are numerous tasks that need doing. Assist the others where you can, and lighten the burden where you may. The mountain passes and hillsides are filled with deadly orcs. Their burrows wind deep under hill and mountain, where they breathe faster than men. From among the ranks, the deadliest and strongest are chosen to bear the enemy into battle. We must do what we can to thin the ranks before the enemy gains these allies. Oh, you have more quests? Okay. My god, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We already have the new tracker field. And, oh my god, well, we gotta keep picking up quests.
We shall now strike the source.
The fiercest and most deadly of the work champions are all kin, results of numerous leaders produced by two past champions, Naurnash and Kakrang. Defeating the sires and thinning the pack will go a long way to removing their evil from Azanulbizar.
We shall deprive the enemy of their foul steeds.
Orcs have spent years burrowing into the mountainside and spreading through the forest. They vie for the so-called honor of being chosen as mount for the orc chieftains. Our scouts have identified 4 of their champions whose defeat would be a great benefit to the Haban'akkâ. Oh my god. And more quests unlocked. Oh jeez. Yeah, this camp at first is so overwhelming with all the things that there are to do. It's really hard to keep track of everything. But okay. And that's... I think we can pick up more quests in here, yeah.
Make yourself useful.
Our brethren may be trying to hide shivers behind beards, but I can tell they feel the biting wind through their mail. If you can bring me fur pelts, I can make blankets and line the clothing of our brave warriors. You will find bears, wolves and wargs outside these walls. The latter may or may not have pelts we can use, but you may get lucky. Anything we can do to thin their ranks is always worth it as well. Killing orcs is hungry work, and we have quite a few mouths to feed. Luckily, the valley provides, in spite of the foul weather. Go hunt moose, deer and boar, so that we may continue hunting orcs. I like how you think. Days in this valley are barely warmer than the frigid nights here. While you are out in the forest, gather fallen branches or firewood that we might not freeze our beards off out here. You will be competing with orcs who stalk the forest for resources, so mind yourself. Defeat the stalkers as you see them, that we might have less enemies to resist our attacks. You may even find stacks of wood they have already cut for themselves. I really like how you think. The field around Durinstone has seen much bloodshed. The fallen from each side lie piled upon each other, food for the carrion birds. The enemy keeps watch on the field and are raring to fight. They would swiftly attack and overwhelm a group sent to collect our slain comrades. One quick, nimble dwarf, however, might be able to retrieve their arms and armor without rousing our foes. Go forth, gather helmets, shields and swords from our brothers. The orcs must not be allowed to steal their arms and armor. That seems to be it, but once again, we have so many places on this camp to explore. Oh my god! Gavel Thurku, the Great Way, yeah. It didn't trigger the first time around, but now we have it. I think we'll need to keep a close eye on all these explorer deeds. Make sure we don't miss anything due to bugs. What do we have here? We can remove this deed for now, I think.
Glory to the Longbeards!
Oh, hello. I am in a bit of a rush. Still, I've got packages to deliver. Never been here before though, and nobody has the time to point me in the right direction. Huh. But you know your way around Amdan, don't you? More than me, at any rate. Could you help me get this sent to Ekfas at the Temámir camp, Kolund at the Zhélruka camp, and Sbithi at the Narfanghoth camp? No need to come to me once you're done. I'll be gone by then. Thanks. Yeah, an excuse to explore the camp. I will do so gladly. Don't you worry.
Hail?
The army has been on the move and on the attack for so long that I fear some of our brethren have forgotten better days. What seems a small thing may in truth be a large comfort. I have carved these comps from bone and horn. Please bring them to those in need. Our beards are our pride, and our bedraggled friends will appreciate freeing their locks from the tangles and knots travel and fighting have brought on.
How might I be of service?
I heard you're going a-hunting. While you're out there, do me a favor and check some of my traps. They can be found by the river and among the trees. My god, it seems we have already picked up every single quest needed to complete the deeds. Ah, a comb. Thank you, friend. My thick fingers are no match for these gnarls. There you go. I don't think there will be any quest up here on the slope, but it's always good to check. I mean, this is already the exit to Zirakazhâr, I believe. So yeah, nothing in here. Now, while we look for all the dwarves here in camp, I've been thinking if it was worth it getting a new dwarven-inspired outfit for this portion of the game from the Tales of Yore, and then our forays into Gundabad. But I'm not so sure, because on one hand, even though we are technically under the skin of Hermáth now, we are still reading this as Beriathan. So I don't see this as distracting as I initially thought it would be. Ah! Right, Vald, Red Ember, good to see you here too. Are we gonna meet the other guys? We most likely are. And I've been also thinking about whether or not using a dwarven themed mount. I might do that because, well, when we enter Gundabad, that is going to be underground and no horse can enter there, so might as well get another mount for this and for Gundabad, right? Doesn't hurt. What's this now? A comb? I was going to get around to that. Give it here then. Ah, here we have Kolund. This is the Zhélruka or the Temámir? Oh my god. I think this is the Zhélruka. At least the clothing seems of the Zhélruka.
What would you ask of me, cousin?
A letter. I thought this day would never come. I wonder what mischief my son has got himself into this time. Yeah, I think these guys are the Zhélruka. What now? No, I haven't got a comb for you. Oh, you offer it to me. Well, isn't that finally made? Give Elgor my thanks. I will. Now, I don't remember what was the name given in the books for the Zhélruka. Something about hammers and fists, of course, as you can see by their banner. But I don't remember. But that was the indication the devs gave to the more knowledgeable players of which House was which? You have learned of the Zhélruka encampment at Amdan. Yeah. Strashek. Should I be familiar with that name? I'm not sure. Come over here, I have a present for you. Talk to me, please. A beard comb? What are you implying? Well, give it here. Might as well put it to use. Not implying anything. If you don't want it, you are free to give it back. Ah, Poison Dwarf. We're gonna get another quest for that at some point. Oh, give it here, will you? My own comb broke weeks ago. Well, I suppose you could tell that. Well, not anymore. You are welcome. You have learned of the Abnúzhu encampment at Amdan.
A strange and fatal ailment has befallen our soldiers.
Even the smallest wound has left them stricken by some unnatural illness. I suspect poison is to blame, but I need more of the foul stuff to study. Time is pressing down on our brethren, so you must hurry. Make your way to Rungshakam and gather samples of the poison. Check their arrows and look for pouches of the stuff. It dries quickly and flakes into powder, so I suspect they must carry it with them into battle. Anything you might do to thin their ranks will also help. Alright, so that's what I thought. We will get to helping the poison dwarfs eventually, but not yet. And that really gnaws at my mind. Seeing all these dwarfs in need of help and not being able to help them. That's cruel. For me? You have my thanks. I will be sure to pass this along to others in need as well. Yeah, I'm no expert, but I think sharing your comp, especially when you have spent so much time without using one, that doesn't sound like the healthiest of choices, but I appreciate the sentiment. And you sharing with your fellow dwarves. It's just that I don't know how good of an idea that is, but well, I'm not one to criticize. Excellently done, friend. This was a small thing, but it's one that has the potential to impact our brethren greatly. No dwarf should go to war with his beard a tangled mess. There we go. Where else do we go now? Oh my god, we have so many things that we can do. I have no idea where to go first. I think, well, might as well take a couple more pictures of some of these structures, which once again are so imposing and so majestic. You have learned of the Narfanghoth encampment at Amdan. The Firebeards, I do remember that name, it's such a cool name. And they do honor their name. Just take a look at King Thráin. If that's not a Firebeard, I don't know what is. I love it. I wish my dwarves could look like this guy, but even the Longbeards don't have this kind of facial hair, so that's a shame. Agnar! Oh my god, so good to meet you too!
What do you ask of the Narfanghoth?
From my wife? Excuse me, friend, if you don't mind, I'd like to open my package alone. I'm afraid my company won't be as enjoyable the moment I start crying. Yeah, sure. You are more than welcome to do it. Okay, now I have just realized this is actually the first time we're making full use of the 10 quest tracker. So I think we really need to be changing some of these colors to make it reading the thing a little bit easier. I think this, which one we don't have? This shade of purple, I guess. This shade of blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's one color I'm not using, and for the life of me, I don't know which one it is. I think it's this light blue. No. This dark blue. Oh my god, which one I'm not using. You know what? Let's do this the easy way. So yeah, red, orange, green. We pick this one as the aquamarine. Okay. Purple. Do this one in here. Do this one white. And we can do this other one. I don't know. Red. You gotta repeat some colors. And that can get confusing really fast. But what I was trying to check actually was some of these quests. Yeah, that's what I thought. There is still another portion of the camp I can explore to deliver the letter. I would actually much rather do that before we leave the camp. And we also gotta talk to that guy. I cannot forget about that. Don't let me forget about that, please. You know what? Let's go and talk to that guy while we look for Ekvas. Okay, I'm ready. Let us go now.
Let us travel the old ways of our forefathers.
Let us travel them. Master Architect Goris Tonsutter waits for you under the ancient arches on the bank of the river Kivalnala. He is determined to examine the ruins built by an ancestor of his, no matter the danger of crumbling bridges or lurking enemies.
The stone of this valley has stood for many thousands of years.
See those pillars there? An ancestor of mine built them ages past. She left detailed journals of her time here. Sadly, the pages of the journal are as crumbled as the ruins, but I hope to learn more here. The stone of this valley has stood for many thousands of years. Yeah, lead the way, and I got your back.
Can say with some confidence that those statues are dwarves.
Yeah, well, you can see some of the beards, sure. And we have intact dwarven statues, so I think that was one of the easy ones. But let us see what else you can discern of all this thing. Thousands of years and the steps remain strong. Solid work. Look at the detailing edges, still sharp. The archers still soar high above.
Ancestors spent much time working on this staircase.
Kurazan, the dim crossing, built over 2,000 years ago, and now here we are. A testament to our mastery over the valley. Look at these arches and the detailing. Our ancestors were comfortable enough and had time enough to build grandly. This is no simple bridge over the Kivalnala, but a grand testament to the power and abilities of the builders. Come, let us continue. I would wager 3 trolls could jump up and down on this bridge without even causing it to tremble. I bet you're right. But of course, this is as far as we can go without trouble. Orc Slayer of Azanulbizar. There we go. Lead the way, Gori. They never stood a chance. How many orcs do we need to defeat? 100 of them. I think that's simple enough. What is that? A plague? Let us get a closer look. Ah, okay, yeah, I see it. What does it say?
My ancestors spent much time working on this staircase.
Bundin steps. My ancestor spent much time working on this staircase. She wrote that she worked under the great stoneworker King Bundin II. Landslides left the already ancient paths to Azrath too perilous to safely traverse. They carved the stairs from the very bedrock itself. Let us climb. Once again, lead the way.
We must rid this area of the enemy for good.
Yeah, if you would move just a little bit faster, I think we would be done with that already. I get you're a warrior, but... oh, for God's sake, let me do it. Come on, still waiting for you. My ancestor was close with Fundin's widow, Bigdis. She wrote that the queen's beard turned white when the news of the king's death reached her. Perhaps it was from grief. Perhaps it was from having to take over the duties of ruling until their son, Kalin VI, the Young, came of age in 501. I do believe I could spend decades just marveling at the details here. But come, let us return to Amdan before more of the enemy comes looking for their friends. Back to Amdan, at least you had the decency. Thank you for that. Balin, Dwalin, Fundin, fighting, oh my god, yeah. Never gets old seeing these guys in here.
Long have I desired to stand under those arches and on those bridges.
You have given me a wonderful gift on this day, my friend. You have my thanks. There is much work to be done, but first this damnable war must be won. Let us hope that the damage from the conflicts to come are minimum. We have much to learn from those who built before. And that was it. That was it for your quest. Are you sure? Alright. Now we gotta deliver one more later, and for the life of me, I don't know where that guy is. I mean, if I'm reading the map correctly, yeah, it's through here. So does that mean... yeah, okay, there's another portion of the camp here. This is not the exit just yet, even though it seems like it is, but it's not. You have learned of the Kámbrada encampment at Amdan. I really gotta double check all these names. I really want to give you the full account of the dwarven houses, but I cannot do that on my own. I need to double check.
The Temámir.
Is this for me? Sweet from my friends, and enough to share. Would you like some? Yes, please. Thank you. You have delivered the mail to the rightful recipients. The messenger is gone by now, but you've carried out her instructions to the letter. Quite literally, yeah. I think maybe we can finish exploring the camp and learning about all 7 houses before we end today's episode. I would very much like that. You have learned of the Temámir encampment at Amdan. And we have completed the war camp of Thráin. That is awesome. Let us see what we got in here. Learn of the House of Thráin's encampment, the Exiles encampment. Many others follow from Thor's Cump. Okay. The Iron Folk. These, well, are now the other houses. Well, these 3 comprise the Longbeards, and then we have the Landorrim, the Zhélruka, the Abnúzhu, Narfanghoth, Temámir, Kámbrada. Okay. So we got the title Dweller on the Threshold. Some Virtue XP. Fidelity is now at level 48. And some Reputation with the Haban'akkâ of Thráin. So here you see this this update introduced 2 new factions that are technically the same, technically not the same. The Haban'akkâ of Thráin, the soldiers of this war, and the Carunubnar, which are the survivors of the war. So I gotta be honest with you, I was very disappointed when I found out there were 2 new factions, because that usually means you can max out one, but you need to grind out the other, and that is the case in here as well. I would have very much preferred it if it was just one faction, but well, that was not the case. And I'm not entirely sure why the devs decided to give us 2 factions instead of one, but I think it has to do a lot with missions and giving us different rewards by doing missions, that what you can get from landscape questing. Very much what happened with Elder Slate, that we also had the 2 reputations, the Merchant Gundavat and the Gavilaka. But that means there's a lot of grinding ahead of us to max these 2 factions. But we don't need to worry about that right now. And let us see what we have here. You have learned much of Amdan, the war camp of the Haban'akkâ of Thráin. That I have. What was the title again? Dweller on the Threshold. Kinda nice title. And now we have the Battle of Azanulbizar? No, Explorer of Azanulbizar, but I don't see it. There we go. Azog's Realm, we don't have that deed yet. Remnants of Khazad-dûm, Treasure of Azanulbizar. Oh my god. That's gonna be a lot of work. Once again, I've never been able to complete any treasure deed on my own. Maybe some of the treasures in Gondor, but I don't think so. But all these explorer deeds for hidden treasure and the like have only gotten harder and harder as the game progresses. So I'll do my best, as I usually do, but I don't have my hopes up for this one. Now, as I was saying, this is the exit to the camp, but you see in here, there are still some dwarves in here, and actually there is one more quest for us. That's great. Let us pick up the quest then.
Well met, stranger. Come to join this lonely soul?
I can't say there is much to report. I've spent the last few months waiting for my wounds to heal, so I've been carving. The dwarf holds up twin wooden cups. It passes the time well enough. I mean to keep one of these cups for myself, the other is for my wife. You seem like a good listener, and I think our comrades would appreciate that. Why not seek out those who are resting here and talk with them a bit? Surely anything must be better than being alone with their thoughts. Alright, as you can see in here, this dwarf in here, it's a female dwarf, and she has said she has a wife. There were a lot of players that were upset, very upset, when they found out about this really small detail. Like a forced inclusion, I think it was the term used. I mean, it's just one NPC in a camp full of dwarves. It's just a small quest. You can very much skip it. I don't mind that much. Of course, it's a little surprising learning that, well, there are couples of the same gender in dwarves, and it seems to be a well accepted enough practice if she can talk about that openly in the middle of a war camp. So of course that's surprising as well, and I would say yes, this is quite a reflection of the times we live in and how that influences the stories we create and the characters we create. But once again, this is a really small character. You don't need to pay attention to her if you don't want to. If you find yourself represented in the character, that's also good for you, I guess. Once again, it's just a small character. If it affects you one way or the other, you really don't need to belittle the other players who do or do not enjoy this as much. Just I'm always an advocate of letting everyone enjoy what they find enjoyable. But I just remember the entire let's say discussion around the dwarf now that I talked to her. But to be honest with you, I don't even mind that much. I had even forgotten about that. So yeah, there's that. And here we have Lagi. So we have met the 3 dwarves that are now with Prince Durin at Elderslade. Such a nice detail as well, meeting their younger counterparts. Really enjoyed that a lot. Agnar, Lagi, and Reithwald. Now, if we can listen to the dwarves in here before the end of today's episode, so that we can then get out of camp, I think that would be best, so let us do that. These years have not been kind to me, but I hope they have been kinder to my family. The dwarf shows you a piece of paper he's been sketching on. The rough drawing of a bright-eyed child smiles from the page. My daughter, or at least how I remember her. I'll survive to see her again, mark my words. I hope you can go back to your family and reunite with your daughter. I have nothing to talk about, no family or friends left to speak of, but come, sit with me. You sit next to him for several minutes. No words are exchanged, but the dwarf seems to find comfort in the relative silence that follows. Before you get up to leave, he nods in farewell. Oh, what a heartful moment, I think. Sometimes you just need to share a moment. There's no need to have words spoken for it to be meaningful. I hope I was able to provide some comfort. Share a drink. It's just water, but I mustn't drink anything heavier. So many soldiers miss their loved ones, but I miss the taste of ale. Not the ale we get here, but the ale from taverns, tied to good memories mostly. Drinking with friends. She sips some water. Ah well, can't get everything we want. That's also something that I noticed. It started with Elderslade, but is really noticeable here in Azanulbizar and then later on in Gundabad as well, and that is the fact that we meet a lot more of female dwarves, openly female dwarves, where the game openly tells you the gender of them. Who knows, maybe some of the dwarves we met in Eriador and Ravanion were also female, but they had male voiceovers and the game didn't differentiate between male and female dwarves, but they started doing that with Elderslade, and as I said, you will find a lot more female dwarves with Azanulbizar and Gundabad as well, if I remember correctly. So that's another curious detail I thought it was worth mentioning too.
There is nothing wrong with reminiscing about better days during dark times.
Say, I think there's something you could help me with. Okay.
Perhaps I am being too cautious. Perhaps not.
Okay, I'm really eager to talk to you and continue exploring this area, but I think we have just run out of time for today. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Join me next time and we'll continue our adventures through Azanulbizar. For the time being though, this has been all on today's episode of Citadel Guard Adventures. Thank you once again for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Until then, my friends, stay safe, take care, good luck to you all, and I will see you later.